Chula Vista Bayfront project. Oh my goodness, I've been so excited about this for so long. I'm so happy to have Kevin Im here. What's up, Kevin? How you doing,
How's it
brother?
going? Doing
My,
well?
yeah. Now you covered this. Obviously, you're in real estate. You covered this area. You've done a lot. You're actually a resident of West Chula, and I've been saying this for some time. People who've asked me, "Hey, where's the best value? Where can I find the best value?" Well, hey, in Chula Vista, to me, it's the one place in all San Diego County where it's more expensive to be east than west, and that had to fix itself. It had to figure that out at some point. This Chula Vista Bayfront project, though, is kind of like the steroids for that whole situation. So tell us about what is it, and give us some timelines on this.
So I think it will inject a lot of attention as well as a lot of value to the west side of Chula Vista. We'll definitely talk about the specifics of what's going on, but for those of you who don't know about Chula Vista as a whole, it's divided up into two different sides, which is going to be the east side and the west side, which is split between the Interstate 805.
Okay.
And the reason why the east side has higher home values at this present moment is because they have better schools and they have more commercial as well as residential development going on. And so the west side has gotten neglected for a long while, and I think this is soon to change with everything that's to come.
Yes, it has to. I mean, I was actually surprised. It's been, let's see, this was a couple of years ago when I had kind of first revisited the west side of Chula Vista. I first come down there after someone said, hey, you got to come check it out. It's changed. There's a lot going on. There's breweries down here, and the whole 3rd Street area, or 2nd or 3rd Street, I can't remember which one it is.
3rd Avenue.
3rd Avenue, the main area there. And you got to come check it out. Come walk it, get an acai bowl. I went down there and I did that. And there's a park over there, and I was like, where am I right now? Like, I can't believe this. This is like West Chula. And so then this Bayfront project comes up. It's been a few years, right? They got approved.
I believe it was 2016 when they finally got all the permitting completed.
Okay. So it's been in the works for some time, and that's why I've been telling people, West Chula, look there for investing. And you started to see some flippers come in there. You started to see prices go up a little bit. But now we're at the point where, what are we, a year or two away from breaking ground over there?
So the bike path, the Sweetwater bike path, which connects the marina to the northmost portion of the infrastructure plan, which is the RV resort, is already developed out. So there's currently a bike path as well as a walking trail where people can go and kind of see as the development happens.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And they're putting it's over $1 billion that's going into this, right? It's like 1.6 billion or something.
Correct.
Yeah, so they're
massive.
A huge amount of money for commercial. What's going to be there?
So the Catalyst project is what's called Gaylord Pacific Resort and Convention Center. And this is going to be a convention center that has 3 levels, 4 ballrooms. They're going to have 1,600 hotel room within all of that project. Resort style amenities such as a lazy river, a spa, wave pool. They're going to have restaurants, retail. That's going to be the big Catalyst project, aside from many other things that are going to be developed as well.
Okay, so that's sort of the anchor tenant, if you will, is this convention center, hotel, resort style setup.
That's what's going to bring a lot of the tourism.
Gotcha.
Then there's Pacifica, which is going to be more of the residential side. There will still be 420,000 square feet of commercial space, but what they're going to do is they're going to have 1,500 condos for residential purpose developed, and then they're going to have a smaller hotel of about 250 rooms.
Wow. It's just huge.
Yeah.
Just huge.
Yeah.
What it does for the west side of Chile, I mean, we've got to expect it. We've already seen, prices go up over there a little bit. Quite a bit actually, and just the normal market movements that we're seeing in the anticipation of what's taking place over there. I mean, it could be completely transformed by something like this, though.
Yeah, it can. And I think that, as I mentioned, I'm a resident of West Chula Vista. I'm super excited about what it's going to do for home values, and I think more importantly, what it's going to do for exposure. I think that with the tourism, we're creating thousands of jobs, by the way, tens of thousands of jobs, both temporarily through the development and then permanently. Because we're going to have to, number one, we're going to be creating a lot of those residential home availabilities for these employees, but also people who are going to find a newfound appreciation for West Chula Vista and are going to decide to either invest there or stay there permanently and create their lifestyle there.
Yeah, jobs going into an area is always good. Those jobs are people who need homes. So one way or the other, whether they're renting, whether you're buying, it really doesn't matter. If you're taking up a home, you're helping the housing market, right? One way or the other. It actually doesn't matter. But so if we have new jobs, new residents, we have new tourism too, which this is the big thing. If you look at why did Carlsbad blow up, I don't know if you may be too young for this, but 15 years ago, Carlsbad was the middle of nowhere. Okay, people were like ashamed to talk. They were like, "I live in Carlsbad." It was so far away. It may as well have been Timbuktu. And I look back at that and I'm like, what happened to Carlsbad? It became such a tourist destination. The locals now call Carlsbad, their own Carlsbad, a tourist trap. Why would you say that? Because lots of tourists come and they flood the areas. Why are they there? Legoland, the beaches. There isn't a whole lot of other reasons why. I mean, you have the village. So I think what this does for Chula is similar to what we saw happen in Carlsbad. It creates a destination opportunity. It creates tourism. And just look at what happened to Carlsbad.
Yeah.
Absolutely blew up. I think that will happen. And I also think that, and I'd love your opinion on this, that won't just be good for West Chula. It'll be good for all of Chula and all the areas that surround that whole bayfront.
Yep. As a byproduct of what's happening in West Chula Vista, naturally values will, as long as we stay within this trajectory, it will help East Chula Vista as well. And what I'm excited to see is how it's going to benefit Imperial Beach, which you and I have had an off-the-camera conversation about Imperial Beach being the only affordable beach community left in San Diego County. Well, I think that a lot of people dismiss what's happening in Imperial Beach because there is a lot of commercial development going on there as well. And I think that they're going to get the exposure that they deserve once all this happens in West Chula Vista.
Yeah, it's a branding thing, right? It's a marketing thing, it's a branding thing, it's getting people to come down there. I would not have gone down to 3rd Avenue if someone hadn't told me, you have to come down, see me, let's do this. If I hadn't been pushed, I wouldn't have gone and see it. I wouldn't have known what's going on. I think there's a lot of people who haven't been there recently. If you haven't, you have to check it out because right now, today, you'll be surprised the way things are. Now, imagine when the multi-billion-dollar project is in place and up and running on all 8, how that's going to look. It's a transformative situation, and I think it's still, we haven't seen, I don't think it's fully priced into the market yet. Let me put it that way. I think there's still, that is going to uplift the area as it comes in and as it comes to fruition and gets going. It will uplift the market no matter what's going on in the market. It will help that area tremendously.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough awareness around it for it to be priced into the market yet.
Right. And that's one of those areas too where it's like we have, water there. There's water there that was almost kind of like not used, right? I mean, it was just, what sense does that make?
Yeah.
It was just so weird to me. I never understood that. I look at everywhere in San Diego County and the water and the coastline is like this primo spot. Whoever owned that land must have been holding out for something like this. That's all I can think of.
And the only attraction, or I guess the only occupied space commonly of that area was Silver Strand, which is west of where they're developing in the marina. And as most people know, or if you may not know, that's the strand that runs from Imperial Beach to Coronado, and a lot of residential there that's known as the Coronado Cays, which for anybody who doesn't know, that's a portion. It's the reason why you purchase in Coronado Cays is mainly number one, to be a Coronado resident, but also to have a boat slip.
Yep.
And so a lot of people who know about the Coronado Cays are people who are from Coronado, but a lot of people don't know about them unless you love to travel in your RV and spend time by the beach.
Or you have $4 or $5 million to buy a house with so you can live in the Cays, right? That's the other thing. It's like, it's the leveling up that this does for the area, and that's what we're trying to, I guess, explain in the best way possible. It's such a leveling up for the area because it really does exist pretty much everywhere else along the coast, and now it'll finally exist down in West Chula Vista. So we have a playbook for how this goes. We know what this looks like all the way up and down the coast. I just think it's going to be huge. I can't wait to see what they put up there, and I can't wait to check it out.
Well, what you can do now is, if you spend the time to go down there, we talked about the bike path. What is also there is the newly renovated RV resort that they moved from J Street just further north. But what they also have there is about 50 cottage-style vacation rentals. And so, I mean, these things they're beautiful, very modern in style. They have got rooftop decks. I mean, if you're thinking about a place to spend Independence Day, definitely look at renting one of those cottages.
Really?
They're beautiful.
That's a pro tip right there.
You've got the skyline, you've got the coast. It is beautiful.
That's awesome. So things are coming in phase by phase. The bike path is obviously important. I want to make a connectivity there. The Strand, the only time I've been down the Strand, I rode my motorcycle down the Strand like 15 or 16 years ago. I can't remember, like a long time ago. I haven't taken that trip, but you're right. This is an area that hasn't had the attention. It's just been off the radar, and that's part of why we're talking about it today. We want to make people aware of it. I want to follow up everyone that I told, hey, go look in West Chula 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. This is why. This is why.
and you still have a really good opportunity.
Yeah.
Because as you said, it hasn't been priced into the market. West Chula Vista still is more affordable than East Chula Vista. And it's what I believe one of the better opportunities as far as investing here in San Diego County. So you still have an opportunity. Definitely take the time to go see it. But if you are in the market, consider West Chula Vista.
Yeah, I still believe in it as an investment for a few reasons, but also because you still have a lot of room for growth there in like the schools, for example. For if someone who maybe doesn't have kids yet and has 5 or 6 years before they even plan on having kids, great place to buy. Also take a hard look, HOAs, Mello-Roos, right? We don't really see that in West Chula Vista or you do in East Chula Vista. I just did this for a VA buyer. I specialize in VA, so it's something I'm working on all the time. A lot of people who are VA, they want to live in Chula Vista. So this individual was looking at a new build. It was like $630, I think, was the price. After the HOA and the Mello-Roos, the equivalent price with no HOA and no Mello-Roos was going to be $825,000. So you really got to know what you're comparing apples to apples on. Look at what the payment is. Look at what the actual impact is of not having to pay any HOA, not having to pay any Mello-Roos. You do have also some multi-unit opportunities over there. There's a lot of those 2-unit type properties over there.
Yes.
Huge, huge opportunity. So I'd say look at those. There's just a lot of upside for West Chula Vista. I see the schools getting better. I see, the influx from this marketing and branding of this Bayfront project, and the influx of people also, just being things that are going to really level up West Chula Vista. We're not going to have this anymore. It's not going to be cheaper to the west. The time has come. You knew this would happen. It had to at some point.
Yeah.
But this Bayfront project is just a major catalyst, which is going to project it forward very, very quickly. I think you're going to see it happen in a year or two, what would have happened over the course of 10 years.
Absolutely, absolutely. The most exciting thing that we had prior to this was all of the commercial redevelopment on 3rd Avenue and all of the restaurants and bars that came in. It really does feel almost like a North Park if you were to walk through it.
Exactly, it does.
And so now that we've gotten more demand with that, I think people are asking for, number one, more safety, more security, better schools naturally. And that's why in the past they've gone to the east side. But now with the demand coming back to the west side, the development going on in the Bayfront, I think it's only natural, and it will be a byproduct of us then seeing better safety, more security, and better schools.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we've seen is sort of the path is, you get desirability, you get demand, people come in and pay up, right? So you see the market move higher. Then those taxes flow back into the school system, and you see the schools hire better teachers or expand or get better equipment or whatever, and they get better and better with their resources. And so that process can take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years for it to really flush out all the way through. And that's why I've been telling people for the past few years, hey, if you're 5, 6 years away from having kids, buy over here. You're going to see this happen. We know how this plays out, and it's going to happen over there. And I think in that particular area, you may see some of the biggest strides in the shortest period of time that we've ever seen for all of those reasons we just mentioned. You know what the one big difference between North Park and 3rd Avenue is?
What's that?
There's a big actual park in 3rd Avenue. In North Park, there really isn't any park anywhere.
Yeah, and you know what? You made a good point, is that a lot of young families have a good investment opportunity to get into West Chula Vista, build out that real estate portfolio, gain some equity, potentially move up and go to that forever home. But we're also seeing a lot of retirees move into West Chula Vista to avoid the HOA and the Mello-Roos. I mean, empty nesters are looking for more affordability.
Yep, and that the lack of HOA and the lack of Mello-Roos is great from a freedom perspective. You do what you want to do with your property. But it's such a big difference maker on the payment. Like I can't explain. It's just huge. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars a lot of times.
Yeah.
You know, so it's when you look at the prices, just keep that in mind. You know, you got to compare apples to apples. But either way, not only you're saying first-time buyers and empty nesters, but also investors. Investors really taking a hard look at Chula Vista, West Chula right now, because of where rents are at and what the projection is for appreciation in the area. Some of the buy and hold investors I know are really scooping over there.
Yeah, and as you mentioned earlier, there's multifamily on the west side. You're not going to find that on the east side.
That's right.
And so if you're looking at a buy and hold as far as cash flow, that might be the better investment.
Kevin M., Keller Williams, thank you so much for coming in, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you. Share this video with your friends. Let's help make them smarter than everyone else about what's going on in West Chula.